Okay, get ready. We're about ready to embark. We have to travel to Dallas, Washington Airport. Just love Washington. No, I don't. No, I don't. Fortunately, we had a driver. There was 11 of us, and the van driver took us to Washington and dropped us off to Dallas, Washington's airport. I'm not sure how many the airplane held. I know that there was 3 seats, and then there was an aisle, then there was 3 seats, and then there was an aisle, and then there was 3 seats. Yes, 9 seats across. The bigger planes are a lot differently. They fly at higher altitudes, probably 36 to 39,000 feet. Does anybody know how fast they travel? I really didn't know any of this. You know, they got these TVs on the back of the seats. All right, that's for your viewing. But in this particular plane, that's an overseas flight, it has information about the plane. It tells you the altitude you're flying. It tells you how fast you're flying. What else? It shows you arrows going from Dallas Airport. It'll take an arrow going over to Vienna, Austria. So we'll be traveling from Washington, D.C. to Vienna, Austria. If you'll look out your side window, you'll be able to see the Alps. Snow-covered Alps. Beautiful from the airplane. I was glad I was in the airplane. So anybody have a guess how fast the airplane travels? 600. 650 some miles an hour. Okay, but I had no idea. Does anybody know how cold it is outside when you're flying? Outside temperature. That was something else I did not know. Very cold. Now you tell me, I can't understand this. I thought that when you get closer to the sun, it should get warmer. Does anybody want to explain that to me? Why is it warmer down here than it is up there? You got the answer.
Okay, so whenever you're going like really, really fast, it's like blowing a lot of wind on you, so it's really cold.
Oh.
Yeah. And the air's a lot thinner up there.
That's it right there. The air's a lot thinner. Minus 68 degrees. So if you pick a window seat, I'll tell you this. I always pick the window seats. I like the window seats. You see a lot taking off. You see a lot landing. But once you're 36,000 feet, you don't see much of anything. I mean, clouds, and all of a sudden the land looks like a patch quilt. It's really neat. Beautiful squares. You wouldn't realize how the property is divided in such pretty squares. And people that usually think that they are scared of heights usually have no problems with airplanes. I know that my wife always thought that she wouldn't like that, but flying wasn't bad unless you get some bad air currents. And we had some bad air currents on the way home. This dear girl that was sitting on the other side of me, she was in the next aisle. She was in the second aisle. And whenever we'd hit an air current, I'd see her go, oh, well, you know, if you haven't flown much, you get used to that. The shaking is sort of, you get a lot of that. You get some shaking. In fact, we were 45 minutes late because we were going into the headwinds, coming home from Munich, Germany. We flew from Munich, Germany, which we didn't realize they were having, the officials were having meetings in Munich, Germany over the Ukraine crisis. And we didn't understand why. We had went through like 4 checkpoints when we got in Munich, Germany. They just kept checking us over and over. They made us run through again and through the x-ray machines. Now listen, we just got off the airplane from Dallas and we're going to have to go through all this stuff again. That's the way it is. And so we found out later when I came home, they were having meetings about the Ukraine crisis in Munich, Germany. So we're going to fly from Washington to Vienna, Austria. It's going to be a 9-hour flight. It'll be about 9 hours. The big airplane has 4 bathrooms, has 2 near the back, 2 near the front. The ones in the front are usually right behind the pilot's cabin. right where the stewardess hang out. And there's bathrooms on each side. So it's okay. It's pretty nice. And the flight was nice, and you always get some stuff to eat, some snacky stuff. Of course, we had to wear a mask. I tried to make my snacky stuff last a long, long time. Do you have any sugar daddies? Because my ears got so sore from having that stupid mask on. Oh, man, my ears got sore. 9 hours. I was glad to get home. All right, we got to turn some of the lights off. Okay, I have a map here. This is going to be a poor map for you to see. My first year of Bible college, we taught the life of Christ. The teacher would only put 3 things on the board. He put the Sea of Galilee, then he did a little squiggly thing, that was the Jordan River, and then he put another spot here, and that was the Dead Sea. That was all you need to know for the life of Christ. Sea of Galilee, Jordan, and the Dead Sea. Galilee, Dead Sea, River Jordan. And this is the Mediterranean. This is the coast. Okay, this is Tel Aviv, and we are flying into Tel Aviv. That was a 4-hour trip. From Austria to Tel Aviv was 4 hours. So you're looking at what, 12 hours, 12, 13-hour flight. And we are arriving at Tel Aviv. Now, our tour guide said, Tel Aviv, everything goes in Tel Aviv. I laughed. I said, New York and Los Angeles, same problem. Everything goes. The most liberal people live in Tel Aviv. And pretty much similar to America, most liberal people are usually in your larger cities. So I told him, I said, we have some cities like that too, where everything goes. Anything goes. Okay, I'm in the airplane. I'm looking out my window. Where's my pointer at? I got a pointer here somewhere. Let's see if it's working. There we go. Okay. I'm in my window. Let's go to the next one. There we go. I think it was the purple one. It was this one here. Right there's the one that we got on because we're sitting right inside here, waiting at Washington. Oh, there we are. Now we're high. See the contour of the land, the little cracks and crannies. Oh, that's neat. Man, if you never flew, what an experience. Wonderful experience. Okay, we are at Tel Aviv. We are at Jaffa or Joppa. These are the buildings located along the coast, right at the coast of Tel Aviv. And we're looking, these buildings all look the same. They got limestone, very old. That's Melanie Hostler. And that's also a member of Ken. All right, let's see. Here we go. Look at all the steps. I didn't go that direction. I went the other way. Yeah. Beautiful architecture. Okay, I'm headed down the steps. I just took a picture up so you could see the pictures of the old, here we go. Zoom in on that for me. There we go. House of Simon the Tanner. House of Simon the Tanner. Okay. Peter was asked. Peter was in Lydia, which was only a few miles away from Jaffa. And there he had healed a man that had the palsy. Then they got word to him, and they sent for him. 2 disciples brought him to this house because there was a lady that died. Her name was Tabitha, or her name was Dorcas. You remember the name Dorcas. She had died. We don't know how old she was, but she died. And the widows were there crying, and they were showing Peter the beautiful clothing. She evidently was a seamstress. They were showing her the beautiful clothing that she made. And Peter then said, excuse me, or excuse them. He put them out. Why do you suppose he put them out? The scripture says he had put them out. Does anybody know why he put them out? They weren't real full of faith. They were full of unbelief at this point. I mean, she's dead. What do you think you're going to do? So he put them out, the widows that were there. And then it says, and you can find this in Acts chapter 9, then he knelt and he prayed. And he said, Lord, bring her back. And she came back to life. And this all happened here. And while he was there, he was in the upper room, in an upper room, evidently a couple of stories, and he was in this place right here. And he was in the upper room, and there was a blanket let down. And the Lord says, Peter, you know, what I have made clean is clean indeed. And what he was really wanting to say to Peter is, these Gentiles are also, what I've called them to be clean, they are clean. And so that was where Peter received his vision, that he was on the upper story when he got his vision. Let's see. I think this is it. All right. Oh, there we go. Zoom in on a little bit for me. I'll read that. You can see it over there. It's in 3 different languages. Oh, back up. Nope, going the wrong direction. There we go. Can you zoom in on that? There we go. There you can see it. Various Christian traditions tell the story of Simon the tanner who lived in the house, hosted Peter the apostle. It was here that Peter raised Tabitha, saw his famous vision, which he commanded to eat animals regarded as unclean in Jewish tradition. When he refused, he heard a voice saying, what God cleansed, you must not call common. Acts 10:15. Peter interpreted his vision as divine permission to forego the Jewish commandments and to preach Christianity to the Jews and pagans alike. This was a historic turning point in which Christianity evolved from what was considered an historic sect of Judaism to worldwide religion. Okay. Thank you. Whenever we had places like this and there was an explanation, I always like to try to take a picture of it. It helped me to remember where I was at and what this archaeological site was. That's why I like to take these pictures. Notice up there the word Jaffa, Tel Aviv. All right, let's go to the next one. It's not moving. You'll have to take it off Zoom. There we go, Sea of Galilee. Okay, we stayed at 3 motels. So I didn't even bother unpacking. I just left the clothes in the suitcase. You know how you do when you go to a motel and you open up the drawers and start putting your clothes in? Don't bother, because you're not going to be there long. 3 motels. We're at the first motel. I can't pronounce it, but it's right near the Sea of Galilee. I walked out. This is an evening shot before dark, and got a picture of the coastline no, I'm sorry. I told you Sea of Galilee. This is the Mediterranean Sea. This is the coastline. This is the Mediterranean. This is not the Sea of Galilee. Okay. Okay, this is the back of the Caesarea. We are now traveled to Caesarea Maritime. There's 2 Caesareas. We'll deal with the first Caesarea. The Caesarea is located on the coast. And won't need to zoom in on this. This is just, let me get it. There we go. You're looking at the back of the amphitheater at Caesarea. I have some more things to say about it. We'll just go right on here. This is our group. One of the nice things about having gone when we did is there was very few tours. We were the only tour at this amphitheater, the only ones. Now, I'll use my pointer. Original masonry. This is original masonry. This is not. This is added. You see those blocks? That's added. That's not original. Just this is the original. And so is this. This is original, okay? All right. Okay, if you notice the floor, those are different. That's original flooring. Those spots are original flooring. The rest is just added, but there are some original. They try to save whatever original they can, so you can see what it was like during that day. Okay, that's our tour. That's our tour. We're coming away from the amphitheater. We're headed toward the coast. We're going to be walking toward the Mediterranean. That's a sarcophagus. That's a cement sarcophagus. People put their bones in there. Here in America, we have cremation, or we have burial, and our body goes in there. But in these sarcophaguses, they only put the bones in. And so, because of space, they're able to put a whole family in these boxes because it's just bones. It's just bones. Okay, we are looking at the palace of Herod. Herod built this. Herod lived here. This is Herod's palace. Herod lived here, right here. He had built this in honor of Julius Caesar, thus Caesarea. And we have all along the coast over here, we have the chariot races. We'll be walking over there. That's where they held the chariot races. We'll be going over there, but this was Herod's palace. Let's keep on going here and get. This is most of this Caesarea was a port. Most of the port of Caesarea is no more. It's out here. There was a beautiful. If you go on the internet, you can catch pictures of what this port would have looked like when it was in its prime. Most of the port is out here underwater. This is some of the original stones. That's why I took them, but most of it's out in the water. Original stones. Anybody have an idea what that might be? Now that's Jason. What was Jason's last name? Jason is sort of imitating what that was. It's Jason Hockenberry. Jason and Michaela Hockenberry. That's Jason. Jason wore crazy hats every other day. He had some crazy hats. When I say crazy hats, they should have came with batteries because they were wild colors. But anyway, Jason is showing us what this was for. This is actually a walkthrough. We're headed to the Hippodrome and the chariot races. So this would be pretty much like the Bloomsburg Fair. As soon as you get to the Bloomsburg Fair, everybody has to do what? Go potty. You talk about a public bathroom, that is a public bathroom. There ain't no walls. You just squat. That's right. All right, now you know what that is. On there's where the chariot races were. Up there's where the people would sit. See that? That's the cement bleachers. Boy, you'd have to bring a cushion. I want to sit there very long. That's an aqueduct. In Caesarea, where Herod lived, there was no fresh water. So some 91 miles away, they had these aqueducts built to transport water into Caesarea, fresh water, which was 90-some miles north to get this water. This is an aqueduct. The water, of course, traveled across the top. There's a trough up there. If you could see it, there'd be a trough, a cement trough. And that's where the water traveled. This is the parking lot you'd come in. And I had a picture of the long part of the aqueduct, but I think I might have eliminated it. All right, the reason I took this picture is we're headed now along the coast. We have left Caesarea, and now we're headed up the coast. And this minaret right there, you see that there, right there, okay? Anytime you see those, that's a Muslim mosque. That was a Muslim mosque. And you see these occasionally. And our tour guide let us know that each time you see those, it's a mosque. That's where there's a mosque. Okay, you'll have to go back. There we go. I don't know why it's, there we go. Okay, we're at Megiddo. We're now at Megiddo. further on along the coast. These stones here were put in by Solomon, King Solomon. These old stones here were placed by the masons of King Solomon. This will be horse stables in Megiddo. He had lots of chariots, and these are storage bins, water bins. These are storage for food, I suppose. The water is tighter. You'll be able to tell the difference from the water cisterns. By the way, in Israel, water is a special commodity. If there's fighting over something, it's usually over water. Water is very, very important in Israel. We don't realize how important it is here because we have as much as we want, but that's a special commodity in Israel. More storage areas. There it says the northern stables. There, that's actually the stables. There you can see more clearly the stables. And they would have, I don't know how many horses that would have been here, but it would have been a lot of horses because he had a lot of chariots. More places there. I think I just took this for the fields. So you can see the fields. It's very similar to around here. It's very similar. I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure what's planted there. I just wanted to show you the green. We are in the rainy season, and our tour guide kept telling us, this is as green as it gets. You're very fortunate because this is as green as you're going to see it. Because he said that when the summer months come, everything dries up and is brown. But we came at a good time. It's just beautiful. That's a water cistern. The difference, of course, is it's tight. The stones are tighter, so that's a water cistern, a water reservoir. They tried to keep their water whenever it would rain, they'd find ways. And, oh, this is my favorite place. No, it's not. 181 steps. Takes you down into a water cistern that was hewed out by hand. I don't know how they did it. Solid rock for a water reservoir. And we would go down into the reservoir and back up. And there was some place that said if you have trouble walking, you may not want to do this. We had a couple on our bus that sat it out. They just sat it out. They didn't do this. We are at Magdala. Now we're over near the Sea of Galilee. We are on the western side of the northern part of the Sea of Galilee. This is Mary Magdalene's house. Notice the mosaic stonework. This is a motel. They build around these archaeological places. That's how they preserve them. This is a motel. We walked through the motel to see this exhibit. This is all under roof because of rain. We're in the rainy season. When you got tours, you got to do something with the people. Put them under the roof when it's raining. Our tour guide said, you are very fortunate. He said, I have never did a tour in Israel during the rainy season that it didn't rain. And our whole week, we had no rain, none. He said, very fortunate, very fortunate. Same house. There you can see the floor. What's left of it, not much left of it. But it is beautiful mosaic. Look at that, isn't that something? Can you imagine how pretty that must have been? You see what they do? They have some sort of a plaster they put over top of the stone, and then they paint beautiful scenes over the plaster. Can you imagine really how beautiful that must have been? There you go. Magdala, this is more places where people lived. We're looking out from Mary's place, and these are all little places that where people live. This is a Jesus boat. I don't know who the lady is. I just snapped a picture because I wanted to get a picture of the boat that would have been very similar to the boat in Jesus' day. We will take a tour. We will go for a boat ride on the Sea of Galilee, and it'll be a boat very similar to that, except much larger, but it'll be shaped very similar to that. Same place where this boat was. It's the same place. Mosaic map. I'm not sure how original that is. Nobody there to ask. I'm not sure. I think it is. I think it really is all original. It sure looks like original. That's the Sea of Galilee up there. There's the Sea of Galilee right there. It's known by different names. It's also known as the Lake Tiberias, Gennesaret, the Sea of Gennesaret, Lake Tiberias, Sea of Galilee. Okay, most of what Jesus did, his work, was in this vicinity right here, right here. He lived in a little place called Capernaum, which is located there. Magdala was down here, and Capernaum is up here. All right. Decapolis is just a group of 10 cities. I'm trying to think what that was. If it was olive trees, not sure. I think it might have been olive trees. They have a lot of olive trees. There's more scenery. Okay, we are on the Mount of Beatitudes. During Constantine's reign, his wife Helena built all kinds of churches and monasteries. She had these all built over these traditional sites. When I first saw this, I thought, what a shame to have all these buildings put on this site. Why can't we just have a grassy knoll? But then the more I thought about it, I thought, well, it gives you a place to get in out of the hot sun. It gives you a place to get out of the rain. And so it gives you a place to go to the bathroom. So there's lots of reasons why these monasteries are put in these places. But this is the Mount of Beatitudes. Okay, make it smaller. There we go. That's built right on top. It's an octagon monastery built right on top of the Beatitudes. We're in front of it. That's a sign. And this is inside. This is right in the center of it. It's built in the shape of an octagon. There's a hallway goes around the outside of it. You'll see that. This is the center of it. This is the top, the ceiling. Most of these monasteries are beautiful. They're very high. This is the walkway I told you. This is the long windows you can take pictures out of. This is behind it. This is where we came in. This is where we walked in from the parking lot. We walked all the way. This winds up through here. And while you're walking on that walkway, there's almost looks like little tombstones. Looks like tombstone markers, but it has the Beatitude on it. It has the Beatitude as you walk up. It has all the Beatitudes as you walk up to this. We're behind it. We're now walking back to the bus. The Sea of Galilee is over there to your left. The Sea of Galilee is over in here. And we're walking back to the bus. Okay. Not moving. Does it need to be, there we go. Maybe my battery's dead. That'd be a good time for the battery to go dead, wouldn't it? Let's spin it a little bit and see if that made anything. We're going back to the bus. That's the Sea of Galilee. Huh. Okay, you'll have to move it forward for me. Next. Same place. Next. Okay. I took a picture of this for a reason. You're going to see netting on there. Go to the next picture. You see, I'll ask you the same question the tour guide asked. Go to the next picture. It should be another picture of maybe what's under the netting. Keep going. No. Okay, back. All right, anybody know what the netting's for? Well, I'll tell you what's under it. They grow bananas under there. They're banana plants. Why the netting? That's what the tour guide asked. I said for bugs or birds. Nope. Moisture. Remember, water is a commodity. The netting helps for moisture, keeps moisture in the plants. That's one of the ways they found for irrigation to help. It helps. It keeps moisture. Okay. Next. The next place we're going. Okay, remember I told you we were on the Mount of Beatitudes? There is actual places where they have these monasteries built, but then there's the actual location where the actual feeding of the 5,000 took place. And they believe the feeding of the 5,000 took place down near the edge of the Sea of Galilee is where they believe it actually took place. Most of your walking paths were located where? Along the water, along the Sea of Galilee. So wouldn't it make sense as the people would gather to hear Jesus speak that they would come near the water because they're walking in from the walking paths? Okay, so we're at this, that's our tour guide, by the way. His name is Abner Safa. He said, Safa. He says, you got to say it that way, Safa. I have to work on that. I got to practice that. Okay, so that's the church right near the Sea of Galilee, where they're feeding of the 5,000. The church is made of basalt, volcanic stone. This is inside. I'm trying to remember what the stone's about. New battery. All right, try a new battery. I'm thinking that this stone is where the fishermen might have mended their fishing nets. I'm thinking that this is the stone. It's original. It was smooth, and they believe it's possible that the disciples might have, there we go, thank you, might have been mending their fishing nets. Okay, moving on. Oh, there's yours truly. Tried to walk on water. It didn't work out very well. And there, of course, is the 2 fish and the loaves. That's mosaic print. We're looking at the Sea of Galilee, same church. Again, I said it's located near the edge where they say the traditional feeding of the 5,000 took place. It's there. It's actually along this area. We're in the area. We're now entered Capernaum. This is Capernaum. This is where Jesus spent a lot of his time. It's actually said if you could attribute a home to Jesus, it would have been Capernaum because he spent a lot of time here. It was also the place where Peter and Andrew lived in Capernaum. So we just walked in from the bus. The bus is out here. We bused in the parking lot, dropped us off, and we walked in here. And we just came along here, and I snapped a shot. You'll see this stuff here. You see this railing here? This is where they display all this beautiful architectural stones they found during Capernaum. Look at this beautiful architecture. How did they do it without having any tools? This would have dated back to the time of Jesus. This is architectural from buildings from the time of Jesus. These are all displayed as you walk through here. You can just see how beautiful the architecture was on this stone stuff. How did they do it? I don't know. We are over here. We're looking at the synagogue. This synagogue was built in the 4th century, 400 years after Jesus. But I will show you the original synagogue. Now we're back here. We didn't get to the synagogue yet. Well, there's our tour guide, Abner. And this is olive presses. Olive presses. Olive presses. Now, we're over at the synagogue. I took a picture of this for what reason? Anybody know? Jesus could have stepped on that stone right there. Jesus could have stepped on that because that was the original synagogue. And when they would build synagogues, they would build them on the original site. So this synagogue was Jesus' day, this one. Jesus could have stepped on that stone right there. That's why I took it. There. Anybody know what the original foundation is? It's pretty simple to see. That's the original foundation of the synagogue of Jesus' day. The sign says, the late 4th century white synagogue built upon the remains of the synagogue of Jesus. So there's the original foundation of Jesus' day. Entrance to the synagogue, it's possible what the synagogue may have looked like in Jesus' day. When you sit in there, there's no pews here. The pews are there. You better take a pillow because they're concrete. And that's how they sit in the synagogue, with these seats all along the edge. This is an archaeological digging. They dug that out because they wanted to see if they could find anything more about the synagogue of Jesus' day. Notice the two different kind of masonry. The stone, that was Jesus' day. Jesus' day, right there. All right, next. There's your comfortable seating. Wow, look at that. Wouldn't that get tough setting? Cement benches. Some more architecture. All right, this is the same place, synagogue. Okay, there we go. This is Capernaum. This is living quarters, people's living quarters. Of course, what's left is just the stone. What do you think was over top of it? Well, it rotted. It was wood. They had wooden roofs. And of course, that's all rotted. So this is living quarters in Capernaum. More living quarters. Living quarters. Living quarters. Peter's house. This is Peter's house. It's possible that his mother-in-law might have been living with him because we read in the scripture where Peter's mother-in-law was touched by Jesus. This is Peter's house. Notice there's a big church built right over the top of it. That's what they do in Israel. They build over top of archaeological places so that they can be kept. This was Peter's house. There, yeah, that's Peter's house. Don't know what that little hallway was, but that's it. We're still at Peter's house. Explains what we got there. That's the church, suspended over top of Peter's house. They had services going on at the time, so we couldn't go in, but that church is totally suspended on those pillars over top of Peter's house. Bethesda, Sharam, and Bethesda. We're at Bethesda. Jesus visited Bethesda. This could have been, I think this is Bethesda because I took a picture of the sign. So this is Bethsaida. It's Bethsaida. I think Bethsaida, if you do any homework, I think Peter was born here. Bethsaida, Peter and Andrew were both born in this city. Now, they lived in Capernaum because of the fishing industry. They were in fishing, so this is the birthplace of Peter and Andrew. This is just, we're at the same place. Our tour guide's talking to us. We have a roof over our heads. It we had nice weather. There we go. There's the bananas with the netting. There you are. They grew a lot of bananas. I was appalled at how many bananas they grow. Loads of bananas. They must export them. Okay, next. Oh, okay, that's some Israeli cuisine. There's really not much different than our cuisine. They do use a lot of cucumbers. This is a corn relish, peppers, and of course cucumber in it, and carrots. These things here, that's sort of like a sauce or a relish. I didn't even taste it. It scared me. I didn't taste it. Some of that stuff. Oh, talk about scaring you. That baby's still flopping yet. Well, that was St. Peter's fish. That's what I had for lunch that day. When I looked at it, I didn't decide just how I started with the French fries till I figured out how I was going to eat this. It's got fins on and a head on, and I thought that maybe the scales might even be on. So I didn't want the skin. I tore the skin off because I thought there might be scales on it yet. But the fish was okay. It was good. It was tilapia, if I can say that right. It was good. Very tasty, but it was one of those things you ate a little bit and picked bones. Well, I don't like that, but it was all right. sustained me. I think I took the picture because of that mountain back there. See that? There's snow on there. I think that's Mount Hermon. That could be Mount Hermon, the highest mountain in Israel. Mount Hermon. There, see the snow on it? That's Mount Hermon. It's got to be Mount Hermon. It's the highest mountain in Israel. They say Mount Tabor is where the transfiguration took place, but others believe it was on Mount Hermon. So it don't really say where it was. But that's why I took that picture, because I think it's Mount Hermon because there's snow on it. Next. Same. Oh, wait a minute, back up. These bushes here, I did know what those bushes, what do you think they'd made with that? Those bushes. That's where the crown of Jesus was made of. It's thorny and thistly. Would make a terrible crown. But that was the bush from which they made Jesus' crown. That's why I took it. It's a thorny bush. It don't get any bigger than that. It's thorny. They actually had a sample of one in the bus, and you wouldn't want to wear that for a crown. But he wore a crown for me. We are at Mount Hermon. This is Mount Hermon. Mount Hermon is, we're at the foot of Mount Hermon. This is Caesarea Philippi. This is Caesarea Philippi, named after Philip. This is Caesarea Philippi. This feeds the Jordan. This water goes into this makes up the Jordan. There's 5 such places like this that feeds the Jordan. This is one of the sources, probably one of the main sources of the Jordan River, is this water here. Mount Hermon River Springs. Yours truly Shadows taking a picture there. That's a cave where the water comes out. Caesarea Philippi. Notice the marks in the inside there. The people in the area, the Greeks worshipped other gods. There'll be a better picture, I think, coming up. This is a better picture coming up where you can see that. I took this, I guess, because off to the side there was also a building, and an earthquake did this damage. That's part of a floor of the building, and an earthquake did that damage. There we go. That's a better picture. That shows you where they had their gods. They put their gods in these little places in here. It was here that Jesus asked Peter, "Whom do men say that I am?" Peter said, "Well, some a prophet, some a great teacher." But Jesus looked at Peter and said, "But whom do you say I am?" And Peter said, "Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God." Jesus said, "Flesh and blood has not revealed that, but my Father in heaven has revealed that." There's what it would have looked like in Jesus' day. See how the buildings are? You see where the cave is, where the water came out? Right there's the cave where the water comes out over here on the other side. These are the buildings that would have been there in the time of Jesus. Of course, they're all destroyed. But that's one of the cave. That's this portion right here. There you can see a better picture of the mosaic floor. Right there. That's part of the mosaic floor. Right there you go. Thank you. There's the mosaic floor. This is all fallen away from an earthquake. But that's original mosaic floor dating back to the time of Jesus. And usually you can tell by those big stones, it's also original. I like to go to original. I like to know, is this the exact spot? I said to the tour guide, is this the exact? Well, they said it's the vicinity. No, I said, I like to know where the exact spot is. I want to know where exactly this took place. Same water coming out of there. I took a picture of the wind mills, the wind turbines. They have them in Israel. Generate electricity there. They have quite a few of them, as a matter of fact. There's a lot of them. Okay, next. I was taking that picture out of the bus. May not be there we go. Just more pictures of the land. There's some more wind turbines. More wind turbines. Cattle. When you see cattle grazing, I've actually seen more cattle grazing than I've seen sheep. You see only cattle. There's a poisonous, toxic plant in Israel that cattle can eat and it doesn't hurt them. But sheep, if they eat it, they die. So there are places where the sheep are pastured, but this is not one of them. Obviously, there's a toxic plant in this particular place where the cattle are grazing. Yeah, I saw more cattle than I did sheep. I expected to see more sheep than cattle. Next. I don't know why it's not working. I have to push it. There we go. These two hills, they claim were created by volcanic activity. Next. There we go. Sea of Galilee. Another view of the Sea of Galilee. Oh, there we go. Sea of Galilee. We are at the end. These are walking places that you can walk out to the Sea of Galilee. If you see a little boat there, it is a little remote control boat. There's a guy fishing there. He's using that somehow for fishing. You'll see the next picture will show the man using the remote for fishing. He was fishing. There he is. He's playing with his boat. Okay, we got some cuisine here. Yogurt up in the top section, puddings. Next. More cuisine. Those were good. These are olives. You always seen olives, red cabbage, pickles, loads of pickles, tomatoes, pickles. That's a tomato and cucumber combination, radishes and lemon. It's my bus driver. At first, we thought this bus driver was mean. He's sort of a mean fellow. We realized later that he didn't speak much English, so he didn't want to talk much. That's why he didn't say too much, because he wasn't very good at English. But I got to talk. We got to be really good buddies, and he's my buddy. I always tapped him on his haircut. I said, "Nice haircut." There's where we ate. As you can see, we've got lots of room for more tours. We're down here at the end, and we only had 2 other tours at this big cafeteria. There, we're on the Sea of Galilee. We're on the boat on the Sea of Galilee. This is Abner, tour guide. Sea of Galilee. The water was as clear as crystal. You can see the reflection of the sky in it. Just beautiful. Oh, over there, remember that church? That's, you know where that is. We were over there. I was standing right there in the water. This is where the feeding of the 5,000 took place in this area. The Beatitudes is up here where the fancy monastery is. It's up in here. That's up in here. But that's the church. We're on the Sea of Galilee. Next. You'll have to forward it. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? That's a reflection of the sky. We're looking at the sea. It's almost mesmerizing. It's just amazing. Look at that. Just gorgeous. It was probably 9 o'clock in the morning that we were there. There's my bus driver. Hasim was his name. Abner Safa. He's the same age as I am. He is also a tour guide to Africa. Anybody want to go to Africa? He's had 40 tours in Africa. He's a tour guide. He was charged by a water buffalo, had spent some time in the hospital. Quite a fellow. He's nice. Very nice man. I really enjoyed him. A boat, possibly in the time of Jesus. Don't know. There's a question. Who did the boat belong to? To Jesus? To the fighters of the Megiddo battle, or to a fisherman from the Sea of Galilee? Who knows? We don't know. But it's a 2,000-year-old boat. It's a little museum there that you walk through to see it. Okay, we are at Nazareth. This is Nazareth. Yep, there's a sign. Welcome to Nazareth. This is olive trees. Olive trees. This is our group. You see in the back of Pusey Losh, Matthew Yingling, guide at Nazareth. This is all our tour. This is our whole tour. See, Jason has a crazy hat on. Huh? Okay. We're still in Nazareth. There you can see how the people live. Look at the apartments up there. Wow. Yeah, look at that. Whew. You see how they're sitting on a bank? They just put them wherever they can put them, wherever they can build them. That's Nazareth. These people are living in Nazareth. Next. Okay, olive tree. This was just put up just so you can see what life at Nazareth would have been like. This is all replicas they just built just so you could see what Nazareth would have looked like, how people would have lived in Nazareth. That's not a tomb. That's a storage cellar. They didn't have refrigeration. They used storage cellars like that. Okay, next. Don't know the significance. I'm thinking these stones are certainly original. They were there during Jesus' day. They would have been there at the time of Christ. I think that's what she's talking about. These stones would have been here at the time of Christ, and Christ lived in Nazareth. Olive press. Life in Nazareth. Life in Nazareth. Boy, Elroy, what could you accomplish with those carpenter tools? Whew. Wow. Carpenter tools. Perhaps what Jesus would have used, Joseph and Mary would have used. Next. Synagogue of Jesus' day in Nazareth. The only originality of this place is this. This is possible where Jesus could have walked on. Again, your synagogue has seats around the edge, but this is the only thing original here. Would be original is this floor. That's the only thing original. The rest is all prefabricated so you can see what it would look like. See the roof made of timber? That's why nothing is saved. It's all rotted away. Not sure what this is. Trying to remember what this church is. Can't remember. A lot of churches are just full of churches. Holy Masses. It's not ringing a bell. Oh, yes, I do know. This is believed to be Mary and Joseph's house. Mary and Joseph's house right here. This is Mary and Joseph's house. What remains of their house right there. You come in and walk around and come down these steps. We walk through them steps and across here and up these steps. But this is what would remain of Joseph and Mary's house. I have a better picture of it. There. We just seen the front of this. We were just in there, but this is what remains of Joseph and Mary's house. What would remain? Wow. Okay. Next. Still in Nazareth. Nazareth. All Nazareth. Notice the new floors and the old wall. Nazareth. It's all Nazareth. Church in Nazareth. Just outside. I'm not sure what we're at there. Can't remember. Don't know what we're looking at there. I'm not sure. Oh. This is where Mary gets the Annunciation. This is Church of the Annunciation, where it's announced to Mary that she's going to bear a child. She's going to bear a child. We have the angel, Mary, and Joseph. It's a place of Annunciation. Was it the actual place? Oh, who knows? But that's what they do. Okay. There's a lot of ritual baths. In Israel, you're going to see a lot of those. They're ritual baths. Nazareth, what you see down here is all Nazareth. This is Nazareth. They build these motels over top of this, archaeological findings of Nazareth. Okay, this is where they wanted to throw Jesus off the cliff. Remember? When he was talking in the synagogue, today these words are fulfilled in your ears, and he claimed to be the Son of God. Well, with that, they wanted to throw him over the mountain. So the next place we go is the mountain edge where they wanted to throw him. This is where they wanted to throw him, over the edge of the mountain. They took him there to this high hill in Nazareth to throw him over. This is where they wanted to throw him. The Bible just says that he disappeared out of their sight. He just disappeared out of their sight. But this is where they wanted to throw him. We're traveling. Picture taken of the cars. You see what they have, little small cars. More of the property there, some cuisine. I'm not sure. Well, that's potatoes with skins on. I'm not sure what that is. I think it's not pork. There's no pork. There's no pork, I don't think, anywhere in Israel. When I came home, I had a week of pork. There is no bacon for breakfast, but they do make good scrambled eggs. They have hard-boiled eggs. They have scrambled eggs. They have a fellow that stands there at the skillet, and he'll make you any kind of egg you want. They also have cured fish, like herring. They had 3 different kinds of raw fish. The one had the bones in yet. I didn't even bother putting that in my plate. But for the most part, it was very good food. Next. More cuisine. Can't tell you what all that was. Some of it I didn't sample. Next. I don't know what any of that is. I'm not sure I ate any of that. I think that over there is rice, brown rice, but I'm not sure. Not sure what was it. Well, you can usually rest assured it's either fish or chicken. It's fish or chicken. Next. A lot of bread. Lots of bread. Okay, next. Okay, we're traveling. We are traveling. Let me see. Where would this be? Not sure. Next. That's just pictures out of the bus. More agriculture. I'm not sure what that was. Next. Isn't that beautiful? We're in the rainy season. That's when our tour guide said, take a look, because he said it'll never get any greener. He said, this is as pretty as it gets. Next. Palm trees, I believe. I'm not sure. Do you know they actually grow a lot of palm trees down there? I actually think they might export them. I saw more palm trees in Israel than I did in Florida. Next. Cattle grazing. Next. I think we're coming up on the Dead Sea. I think this is the Dead Sea. Yes, Dead Sea. How I knew? Because the Dead Sea is receding. Looky here. These are sinkholes. Back up a little bit. These are all sinkholes. The Dead Sea used to come over in here, but this is all sinkholes. They didn't even take us into the Dead Sea because it's not safe. People that live in that area have driven over here into these areas, and they lost their car. Their car sunk, completely sunk. Went in the ground. They lost their lives. Their car went underneath. It sunk. There's sinkholes. This is the Dead Sea. Dead Sea. Oh, En Gedi. En Gedi. This is where David was running from Saul, and David refreshed himself in this oasis. When they say it's an oasis, I mean, we're in the middle of the desert here. This is like desert. And this was an oasis. Some kind of underground water fed these palm trees, and David stayed here for a time. This is where David rested from Saul as he was being chased from Saul. And it's in a place called Engedi, I think it's pronounced, Engedi. We are approaching Masada. That is Masada. That's far away, but it's Masada. We're getting closer to Masada. Masada is Herod's winter fortress. Next. It's Herod's winter fortress. Next. This is a cable car. This is where you get on the cable car. And I want to call your attention to this. I believe this is Sodom and Gomorrah. This is what's left of Sodom and Gomorrah right there. Right there is what's left of Sodom and Gomorrah. It's like, how should I say it? It's like a city that was covered with stone, brimstone, covered with brimstone. There's a city under there, and I believe that's Sodom and Gomorrah right there. That's it. We're right next to Masada. Next picture, will be some more pictures of that. Keep going. There, that's a replica of Masada. That's where we're headed on the cable car, right there. You can walk up, and they had paths, but we're going up by cable car. Next. That's in the cable car. There you can see, if you're scared of height, you don't want to take the cable car. It's high. I don't know how high it is, but it's high. And again, Sodom and Gomorrah, right there. Next. Sodom and Gomorrah. Look how high we are. Next. There, you can do that. If you don't mind height, you can walk that. Next. More views of from Masada. This is Sodom and Gomorrah. More views. We're on top of the rock now. We're on top of the rock. You're overlooking the Dead Sea. That's the Dead Sea. And we are on top of the rock. Most of the places are deteriorated. This is what remains. These would have been villages. People lived here. The people that took care of Herod would have lived here. Herod would have had servants, and they would have lived here. This is a ramp. Remember, there were 960 Jews that were staying in Masada. They were rebelling against Rome. And Rome came in and filled all this dirt in. They put this dirt in, carried dirt here, and filled this up so that they could breach the wall of Masada. That's a lot of dirt. By the time they got this completed and they breached the wall at Masada, they got on Masada, 960 Jewish zealots had already taken their lives. They were not going to give themselves over to the Romans. Sounds like Ukrainians today don't want to give themselves over to Russia. Very similar. Very similar. More pictures taken from Masada, very high place. Anybody know what those holes are? It was a place to put your cell phone. No. So what did they have instead of cell phones? Pigeons. This is their way of communication. This is pigeonholes. This is how they communicated. Pigeonholes. All right? When the Jews were there, they made a synagogue. That's the synagogue when the Jews were living on Masada. This is the synagogue. Notice the seating. Synagogue. I'm not sure what that is. Some sort of a storage. Another replica. More storage bins. This would have been storage bins for people living on Masada. More storage areas. Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, we're right now on Herod's palace. We are in Herod's palace. Herod made this a winter palace. We are in it. This is his palace, and we are standing in his palace. There, notice the flooring, mosaic flooring. This is Herod. Herod would have walked on this. Herod the Great would have walked on this. That was in Herod's day. He had baths. He had swimming pool. All kinds of conveniences on this rock, what I call the rock. This is Herod's palace. Herod's palace. There's Herod's palace. These all belong to Herod. This is the bottom of the part of the Masada. We were only here. This is the only area we were. Right there is where we are. We're on the top. There's a place to walk down there if you want to do all them steps and check it out. But we only visited this area right there. That's where we were. We're still there. Herod's palace. Herod's palace. Sodom and Gomorrah. The northern palace. Right there. It's referring to the northern palace. That's called the northern palace because it's on the northern part of the rock. We're leaving now. We're in a museum where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. That's our tour guide. We're in the museum. That's part of some of the stuff that was found. This group called themselves the Essenes, and they lived here. They lived in this place. That's just some papers they found there. This is the place we're now going out to where the Essenes lived. This is their living quarters. They were like monks. They lived segregated lives from the rest of the people, much like monasteries, that monks live in monasteries. The Essenes lived the same way. This is, again, their living quarters. This would be a sitz bath. This is a ritual bath here. When you see steps, that's going down to a ritual bath. There it is. See that? Ritual baths were very important. It cleansed them. It was a cleansing. More sit baths. There is where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found, right there. It's cave number 4. That's where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. I think a shepherd boy threw a rock in there and he heard it rattle, and then he climbed up in there and found jars with old Dead Sea Scrolls in. These clay jars he found, and that's where the Dead Sea Scrolls were. Next. I'm not sure what we're looking at there. Just another picture of the city. Next. Next. Not sure why I took so many there. Next. Gas station. $6.50 for gas, a gallon. Okay, next. Now we're in Jerusalem. We are in Jerusalem. This is why you can tell where we're at. There's the wall of Jerusalem. This is the Golden Gate, or the Eastern Gate. And remember that the devil said he was going to take Jesus to the pinnacle of the temple? There is the pinnacle of the temple right there. That's the highest point of the temple. It's there where Satan took Jesus and said, go ahead and jump. God has given you angels in charge to pick you up. That's the pinnacle of the temple. It's there where the trumpeters would sound. It's there where they would blow the shofar when feasts were to be done. It was there. That's the pinnacle of the temple, right there. That's the Dome of the Rock, built over top of the stone that Abraham offered Isaac. Next. We are on the Mount of Olives, looking down over. We are on Mount of Olives. That's the view we have right now, is the Mount of Olives. These are our sepulchres. I told you about sarcophaguses. That's where they put their bones in. And every time they visit, they put a stone on the lid. I don't think you can see any stones on any of these. You might be able to see some, yes. Whenever they visit the dead, they put a stone on top of the box. I don't know why, but that's just one of the things they were doing. This is all down below the Mount of Olives. This is what you're looking at. This is all built upon the Mount of Olives because people think that's a good place to be buried. Why else would you want to be buried anywhere else? The Mount of Olives is certainly a good place to be buried. Okay. Next. We're going to be going over to Gethsemane. We're coming up on Gethsemane. Again, more pictures of the boxes, more. Keep going. all taken from, there you can see the stones. There you see them. Some got more visitations than others. Next. That's where you park if you want to go visit your dead. There's a little parking lot there. You can go visit your dead. Next. This is where Jesus was on the mount, and he looked over Jerusalem, and he wept for Jerusalem. He wept over Jerusalem. This is where it happened, right here. He wept over Jerusalem. Okay, we're getting probably close to going to the Garden of Gethsemane. I think we're all walking toward the Garden of Gethsemane. Yeah, right over in here is where the Garden of Gethsemane is. And we're headed that direction. There it is. Some of those trees would have dated back to the time of Christ. That's the Garden of Gethsemane. It was here where Judas betrayed Jesus with a kiss. More pictures of olive trees. The biggest and fattest trees are the oldest trees. That one's the oldest tree in the garden right there. Next to the basilica that they built, next to the garden, that's the oldest olive tree there. Possibly could have been back at the time of Christ, they believe. And this is the big monastery that sits right next to the Garden of Gethsemane. That's inside. Inside. That's possibly, zoom in on this, the stone where Jesus prayed in the garden. Remember, he went a stone throw further. They believe this was the actual stone that Jesus prayed on when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane. Remember, there's some pictures I have them of a big stone with his hands on it. But this is where they believe actually Jesus went a stone throw further to pray. That's why that stone's in there. Was it? Who knows? I don't know. I took a picture of that because it's the Golden Gate or the Eastern Gate, and there's Muslim cemetery in front of it. They think they're going to avoid Jesus from coming to the Eastern Gate. I can tell you when Jesus is ready, that gate will be open. He'll create an earthquake. The Bible says when his feet touch the Mount of Olives, there'll be an earthquake, and I'll guarantee you that gate will be knocked open. I think it'll cut that right in half, and he'll walk through there. The Dung Gate. This is the Dung Gate. There's 7 gates in the city. This is the Dung Gate. This is old archaeological stuff. Don't really know what it is. It saved it because it's archaeological. Another gate. I want you to zoom in on this because I can see it. Zoom in one shot. Zoom it. I want you to notice the bullet holes. Did you see the bullet holes? Look at the bullet holes. When did that happen? The 6-Day War. It's littered with bullet holes from the 6-Day War. Okay, I'm not sure what gate this is. I can't see. Can't tell what gate it is. Don't know. There's something, I'm not sure what that is. That would tell you what the gate is. I'm not sure. I don't think it's a lion's gate because it doesn't look like a lion. Let's go to the next picture. There's a lion gate. There's 7 gates. Dung Gate. New Gate. Okay. I believe this could be a church of the flagellation. It was where Jesus was stripped, or he was, yes. Okay, back up. I know now where it is. This is the upper room. Up here is the upper room, and this is David's tomb. David's tomb is located here, and this is the upper room. Didn't you talk about that today, Elroy, in Sunday school? This is the upper room. We're in the upper room right now. That's it. This is where Jesus had his meal with his disciples, in this room. Next. Next. Yeah. It's a big room. Next. Upper room, still in the upper room. Okay, this is where Peter denied Jesus. This is where Peter denied Jesus. This is the vicinity where Peter denied Jesus. Remember the cock crew 3 times? This is the place of denial. There. This is the place that Peter denied Jesus. That's the church built on the location where Peter denied Jesus. That's looking back toward Jerusalem from where Peter denied Jesus. We're in another monastery, I'm not sure. Oh, I think this is inside where the monastery where Peter denied Jesus. This is the monastery. Our tour guide was enthralled with water cisterns. I believe he knew where every water cistern was in Jerusalem. He took us to all these water cisterns because water was such an important part in Israel. He's talking about the thousands of gallons of water that's kept in these reservoirs. More archaeological places. It's just some more. We don't know what it is. Next. More archaeological. Next. 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 Okay. This is where Jesus was brought from the Garden of Gethsemane after he was arrested. These are the stones. This is the Garden of Gethsemane down here. The Garden of Gethsemane is down in here. After Jesus was arrested, he'd have been brought up these steps to Caiaphas' house. There. Jesus would have walked on these steps. He was brought up to Caiaphas' house. Caiaphas' house is up here. He was brought to Caiaphas' house. This is not Caiaphas' house. I think this is the place where the shepherds got message that Mary was going to have babies. See, this tour is not in the sequence it should be, but that's just how it is. Now we're back to Bethlehem, I believe, and where the shepherds, yes, this is a place where shepherds could get in out of the weather. This is where the shepherds got news that a baby was going to be born, which is Christ the Lord. This is the place where they were told by the angels that Jesus was going to be born. This is where we walked up to it. The bus is down in here somewhere. We walked up to this. There's the walk. More cuisine. Oh, here we can see what the street life looks like as we're traveling through. This is street life in Israel. This is what the streets look like and the cars. This is a church, maybe of Nativity. This would be Bethlehem. This is a church of the Nativity. Yes, we're inside the church of the Nativity. This is a place where they believe that Jesus' cradle stall was. There's a place for candles. I want to back up. I want to just show you something. See the hole in the floor? Right there. Do you know that's marble? And pilgrims, every time they visit this spot, they kneel here and put their hands in here and touch this, because it's the very spot where Jesus was born. And there's a hole worn away from people kneeling. Same spot. There it is. That's an up-close shot. There it is. That's the location they believe Jesus was born. This, of course, is all built over top of it. The Church of Nativity. Oh, this is where it's believed when Herod gave the orders for the innocents to be killed, that they went in here and hid and kept their kids from Herod killing them. Bethlehem. These are Arab Christians. These are Arab Christians. Hughes knew that, and he said they were Arab Christians, so I took a picture of them. They had a day off of school. By the way, their work week starts on Sunday, and it ends on Thursday night. That's their work week. You see, we Christians, our Sabbath is Sunday. Theirs is Saturday. So their work week starts Sunday and goes to Thursday night. And Friday night, they're off because they have to prepare for the Sabbath. Okay, next. This is the Lion's Gate. You see the lions up here? This is the Lion's Gate. And this is where Stephen was stoned. It was outside this gate that Stephen was stoned. There's your lines. It's called the Lion's Gate. And this is the place of the stoning of Stephen. Okay, next. Oh, I remember that walk. The bus was way down over the hill there until I got to the top. I was puffing. Oh, yeah, that's why I took it. All right. This, I'm not sure. Might be at the garden. We're getting close to getting. This could be the garden. Oh, no, this is Bethesda. This is the pool. This is the pool of Bethesda. This is where the man was cured that Jesus cured. This is the pool of Bethesda. Pool of Bethesda. This is all Bethesda, the area of Bethesda. All Bethesda. Jesus, there it says, Jesus said to the man who had been ill for 38 years, rise and take up your pallet and walk. John chapter 5. Okay. This could be Mary's parents. I think this is a cathedral of St. Anne. Anne was, and Jehoshaphat and Anne was Mary's parents. Mary, the mother of Jesus. This cathedral is built in Mary's mother's honor. This is St. Anne. Now I think we're getting to the flagellation, the Church of the Flagellation. This is our group. This is our tour group right here. Here, remember I'll tell you the guy that always wears the funny hats? Yeah, right there. That's Jason. All right, so we're at the Church of the Flagellation. This is where Jesus was scourged, you see? This is where Jesus was scourged, where he was whipped. He received 39 stripes. And I'll show you the stone where they believe he was whipped. There is where they believe Jesus was scourged, right there. They believe there was a post put in the ground there, and he was tied fast to the post, and it's here where they whipped him. It's here where they scourged him. Sanctuary of the flagellation, the way of the cross. There are 14 stations to the cross. Now we are getting ready to go a walk where Jesus did. Pilgrims do this every year. They walk the Valle di la Rosa. It's Latin meaning the way of the cross or the way of suffering. The first station of the cross took place where Jesus was condemned. The second station took place when Jesus was given the cross to carry. That was the second station. We are now on the Valle di la Rosa. This is where thousands upon thousands of people walk every year. They walk through here. We were fortunate not to be in any crowded position. I want you to notice something here. This is how you know what station you're at. You see this? There's 3 Roman numerals, so that's station 3. You see Jesus is falling with the cross. This is Jesus' first time he falls with the cross. This is station 3, and Jesus falls. This is his first fall with the cross. Probably the same place. Look at here. This is how you know. Look, station 4. I think this is where Jesus talks to Mary, his mother. Gives you an indication here of what's going on here. This is where Jesus talks to his mother, Mary. Okay, I don't know why I went back and took a picture. Right here that day, there was soldiers standing with guns, machine guns. Right there were soldiers standing with machine guns. Station 5. Anybody know what took place at Station 5? Right there should tell you. You see this? Simon of Cyrene. What did he do? He helped Jesus carry the cross. Simon of Cyrene helped Jesus carry the cross. That's station 5. Next. Valle di la Rosa, it says up there. Next. Okay. That's our groups just have a little chit chat. Next. Some say Jesus leaned against a stone here someplace, and they just stuck it in there, and now everybody puts their hands in there, and now the hole's getting bigger. That's my hand. I happen to put my hand there so you'd know what that was all about. I stuck my hand in there and had somebody take a picture. Okay, next. Where are we at? Station where? 6? Station 6. This should be station 7. This should be somewhere station 7 right here. It's believed that here's some places where they stripped Jesus of his garments. Remember, he was put on the cross naked, and they stripped him of his garments here someplace. And we'll be going inside this church. This is more Valle de la Rosa, more walking. I'm not sure what we're looking at here. One of the stations of the cross, I imagine. Well, that's the place where they stripped him of his clothes. I remember that. Okay. Now we're inside. Oh, this is where where they nail him on the cross. So this would be another station. He's nailed on the cross. I have it written somewhere what station that would be. Station 10 was a Church of the Holy Sepulchre, Station 10, he was stripped of his clothing. Station 11 was where Jesus was nailed to the cross. Station 12, Jesus died on the cross. Station 13 is the stone of anointing. We didn't see that yet. I'm getting ahead of myself. I got to back up. Okay. That's they have this in case they believe this was the actual Golgotha where Jesus was crucified. Where there's some contention about that, but there's more people believe it is not the Golgotha. They believe that Golgotha's, well, I'll show you later, but this is where they have Jesus being crucified, but they do not believe that this is the exact location. Again, this is encased stone that they believe was where Golgotha or where Jesus was crucified, which there's contention there about that it's not the place where it happened. Oh, we're coming up on where Jesus is taken off the cross. He's taken off the cross right there, and he's laid on a stone, and his body is anointed. There, he's put on a stone, and he's anointed. We'll show you the stone. There's the stone where Jesus was put on to be anointed. They put oil on him right there on that stone. Pews is I took his picture. He's touching the stone. And that's the church monastery inside that's built over top of this whole thing. Old doors. Sitz bath. Oh, this is a pavement market. This is a market. Possibly Jesus could have walked on. That's the market area. See the market? Market. Anybody, I want you to look close attention to this picture. See if you see anything odd. Give you a minute to look at it. What time are we at? Are we all right? Oh, it's almost time to go home. I got about 5 minutes yet. Look. What time is it? I can't see it. Okay. Anybody see anything different about this picture? No, you're going the wrong direction. Got to go the other way, down, right here. Look at this guy. He really fits in, don't he? There he has a backpack and a baseball cap. Whoever did that, they were just playing a joke. Look, he even got sneakers. Notice they didn't have sneakers. Look at his sneakers here. Backpack and a hat. Yeah, all right. Everybody gets a kick out of that. All right, next. Some old pictures, some maps, marketplaces, what the marketplaces would have looked like. Oh, boy, I would have liked to sample all that. That's ice cream. That looks so good. It looks like custard. It's real creamy, and their ice cream is delicious. If I'd have had a spoon, I'd have sampled every one of those. There, I got that one, but boy, this all looked wonderful. Too many people behind me, or I would have asked for a sample. It was a long line that day, so I didn't. Yeah, oh, look at that. Yummy, yummy, yummy. That's an old wall. Dates back to the time of perhaps Solomon. That's an old foundation of a wall. It dates back to the first temple period. Would have showed you the height of the wall. The height of the wall would have been there. That's just what's left of it. That dates back to the Solomon's temple period. That's why they kept that. Another sitz bath, museum, menorah. Oh, we're at the Wailing Wall. Okay, we're at the Wailing Wall. There's the Dome of the Rock. There's where you go up to the Temple Mount. We were not allowed up there for some reason. We could not go to the Temple Mount. That was a little discouraging. I really would have liked to went to the Temple Mount. We're nearing the Wailing Wall. That is the Wailing Wall. Right there's the Wailing Wall. They were excavating for some reason. They had an excavator in there. Okay. There's the Wailing Wall. Some of these stones date back to the time of Solomon. These stones here. It's in these places and cracks they put prayers. They roll prayers up and put in. When you walk up to the wall, you can touch the wall, but only after you washed your hands 3 times. They have a fountain. Notice there's only men here. There's a fountain that you have a pitcher, and you wash your hands 3 times, and then you're allowed to go up to the wall. You can touch the wall, but it's considered disrespectful if you turn around and walk away from the wall. So what you do, you must back up at least 20 feet and then turn. You're not allowed to turn your back on the wall. It's not considered appropriate. This partition here, the women are allowed to go on the other side. They go there to the Wailing Wall. There's no women permitted in the area of the men. There was a lady that was in there. I saw her being escorted out. She went in with her husband, and she probably didn't know. Oh, I'd like to play that. Can you play that video? Because there's young Israelis up here dancing and singing. You ought to hear them sing. Look, turn it up. This went for a long time. They were having a good time. The old rabbis up there that were praying didn't seem to be affected by it much. They just ignored them. Young kids were having fun. And there was also a group here that was singing and dancing. Right here, they had formed a circle. And they were also singing and dancing. We're underneath the Temple Mount. We're somewhere near the Temple Mount. This is what it looks like underneath near the Temple Mount. There, we're in that section right there. That's why I took a picture of it. The temple is over here, and we are in this section underneath. A lot of sitz baths. There, I wanted to show you the picture of these huge temple stones. Notice there's no mortar. Notice how tight the stones fit. Look at that. That's a seam. Look at that joint. That is absolutely amazing. Replica of the Temple Mount. There. That stone there, I can't even get a picture of the whole thing, but it's back in here some places where it starts. And that stone's one of the hugest stones that it goes out in here somewhere yet. That's over 500 tons. Over 500 tons. How did they get it there, Elroy? How did they do it? More gazine. We got to get right on going through here. We should be finished. This was taken out of our motel. You can see we were right near the UN. We don't have trouble there. The UN was right beside us. Okay, we're just about finished. There's the bus we traveled every place with. There's my good buddy, bus driver Hazine. This is Golgotha, so we're near the end. This is taken at Golgotha where Christ was crucified. Golgotha. This is the place of the skull. Remember the place of the skull? Eyes, nose, mouth. The place of the skull. This lady was from Scotland. She was a sweet lady. She made sure everybody was saved that day. She said, if you don't know Jesus as your Savior, you need to. And this is, again, this is the place of the skull. Where I was at, I couldn't get a good picture of the skull because the skull is right in here somewhere. And I couldn't get a good picture of it. There's another picture of the skull. There's the eyes, nose, the mouth. But this is why it was called the place of the skull. There's a good place to see it. See it? There's a good picture. These are old pictures, but you can at least see where Jesus was crucified right up here. Up on top here, Jesus was crucified. Right up top there is where he was crucified. On the place of the skull, on the top, is where he would have been crucified. Okay, next. I keep going. This is a garden tomb. This is a wine press. It's one of the reasons why they believe it was the tomb. Notice the extra masonry work there that they had to reinforce it. This picture here, they just did something different because they don't have that extra reinforcement there. Okay, when you go inside, you're going to see a cage. You're going to see a steel cage. That used to be open to the public. Too many people were going in, and it's actually, they would sit there or put their hands on it. And if you've got thousands of people doing that, pretty soon you have some problems. So what they had to do is put a bar in. There's 3 of these places. This is a place where it's believed Jesus was laid, right here. There's 3 of these. This is the biggest one in the middle. There's a skinny one there, and there's one over here, but this is believed where Jesus was put. The Crusaders marked it with a mark above it. This is the right side of it. This is the place where Jesus would have been laid. And the Crusaders put a mark above it, denoting the place where Christ was laid. There it is. This is places where you can take communion. There's like 7 or 8 places like that you can take communion while you're there, and we do. We took communion. That was just to show you the price of gas. This is where the scrolls were found. This is the top of the clay jar. It shows the top of the clay jar. This is where the scrolls were found. Mount of Olives. Oh, this is a replica. This is just a replica of the temple. This is Antonia Fortress. Antonia Fortress, the temple is here. That's the temple. This is a beautiful rendition of it. The city of David would have been located here. In this area is the city of David. There's a better area. Right here is the city of David. This would have been the city of David. This area, this is Kindred Valley. Mount of Olives is up here, Kindred Valley. Eastern Gates on that side. Again, it's just another replica. This is the city of David right in there. Beautiful replica of the temple. This is a Parliament building. When we were down, Pelosi was speaking. She was speaking at the time. This is a Parliament building. That's where their government quarters is in Israel. Same picture. Menorah right across the street from it. This is City life, people everywhere. Loads and loads of people. Look at that. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. It was like Times Square. That would be a good way to explain it. Times Square. People, people, people. It's a marketplace. You can buy there anything there you want. Oh, you see what that says? Zoom in on it. I took a picture of it because it said JFC. KFC, we know what KFC. This is JFC. Jerusalem Fried Chicken. All right. That's what it is. Read it. Jerusalem Fried Chicken. Yeah. I thought it was cool. I took a picture of it. I laughed when I saw it. Next. Jerusalem Fried Chicken. I would imagine they had to get permission to use that, but I don't know. Who knows? Next. There's what it looks like on Friday night. The same place where I showed you all those people. That's Friday night. Next. Oh, he's not there. He has risen. All right, I think that's the last picture. Maybe not. I don't know where that is. There were so many monasteries. I think that was it. We were invited to a family, a Jewish rabbi family, to have a meal. Had the best salmon I ever ate. I told her, I said, that salmon was very good. What was the key? What did you do to it? They said we put teriyaki on the salmon, but it was very good. So our whole group was invited to their house. They sang, they read out of the Psalms, and the girls, they had 3 children. The 2 girls were there. The boy was older and he wasn't there. And they all talked to us and they sang, and then we ate. It was nice that they opened their home to us. But that was the last thing we did in Jerusalem, was we had a meal with the rabbi family. All right. Any questions? Any questions? That should be it. I didn't tell you the change rate was $1 to their $3. Our dollar was $1 to their $3 was the exchange rate. Temperature, I can tell you what the weather's, pretty much, I would say it's more like Florida weather. It's more Floridian weather because it does get extremely hot there. I want to show you what the temperatures. They have 3 climatical temperatures: hot summers, rainy winters. Winter can get quite cold. Yeah, okay. When we were there, it was basically 49 degrees. Sometimes it was 49. It was chilly. In the evenings and mornings was chilly. During the day, it would get up to 65, 60, 65. It was nice. We were there during the rainy season. Okay. Anybody have anything you want to ask? Pelosi was speaking. Yes, Barbie. I didn't go here. Anybody? Yes. I'm glad you mentioned the wine. When you hear the tour guide talk about wine, it makes you feel guilty for drinking grape juice when you take communion. What the tour guide had to say about wine was amazing. It's wine. In Israel, it's wine. You don't drink grape juice in Israel. Well, you have grape juice, but they don't take grape juice for communion because the wine is made out of beaten grapes, and our Lord was beaten. He was smitten. And to get wine, you've got to smash the grapes. And when the tour guide explained it the way he did, I wish I could let you listen to what he had to say about the wine. Anyone else? Is that 12 o'clock? Well, it's time to go home. Let's stand and be dismissed and get out of here. Wow. Why didn't somebody slow me up? It's time to go home. Father in heaven, thank you for our time together. Thank you for allowing me to go to Israel. It was a joy. I just so appreciative and so glad to have the opportunity to visit the places that I heard about from little on up, and it just was such a pleasure. Thank you for these patient people that have been here all this time. Take them to their homes safely in Jesus' name. Amen. Wow. Thank you.